The space around Sector X92 was quiet. No signals, no movement, just dust, stars, and silence. Then, a small coalition scout ship entered the zone. The crew on board was relaxed. It was supposed to be a simple survey mission. 3 alien officers were seated in the command room: Captain Turex, Lieutenant Voro, and systems analyst Sarah. They were laughing, playing cards. No threats were expected here, but something strange happened. The scanner started blinking. Sarah leaned forward. "Captain, I'm picking up an object." Turex raised an eyelash. "In this sector, there's nothing here." "No, sir," she replied. "There is, it's huge, but no power signature." The screen showed a shadow, big, long, floating, just outside visual range. Voro adjusted the external cams. The image cleared. All 3 stopped breathing for a moment. It was a ship, but not like any they had seen. Black, silent, larger than a city. Its surface was cracked, but thick armor still covered it. Glowing green lines ran across parts of its body, like veins. There were no lights, no movement. "Is it alive?" Voro whispered. "No heat," Sarah said. "No signal. It looks dead." Turex narrowed his eyes. "It looks human." That made the room colder. Humans were gone, destroyed centuries ago in the final war. Their ships, their weapons, all wiped out. That was the story. This changed everything. "Close-range scan," Turex ordered. The ship moved slowly closer to the object. No reaction. As they got within 500 meters, the ship's design became clearer. Turex stood up. "That's not just a ship. That's a warship." Sarah nodded. "A supercarrier." "Look at the railgun mounts, the hangar size." "Sir, this could be pre-extinction Earth tech." Voro laughed nervously. "Impossible. That thing should have been dust long ago." Then, the ship's lights flickered. Just once, a long green pulse ran along the ship's spine. Like a breath, like it had sensed them. Everyone froze. "Did you see that?" Sarah said. "No power source, but it lit up." Turex muttered. Suddenly, the comms unit beeped. A voice came through, calm, female, cold. "This is human defense. Supercarrier designation, Vindicator. You are trespassing. Leave immediately." The room was dead silent. "No way," Voro whispered. "That's impossible." Sarah's hands shook. "Sir, the voice ID. It matches human AI pattern from the war." Turex stepped back. "This ship is alive," he said, "and it's still running its defense program. Should we respond?" Voro asked, but before Turex could answer, all the lights inside the scout ship went out. Blackout. The engines stopped. The air got still. Only emergency lights remained. A single line of green text appeared on every screen. "Warning ignored." Then came the sound. A low hum, deep, growing. Outside, Vindicator opened one of its weapon ports. Only one. A green glow formed inside a focused rail beam. "No, no," Turex shouted. Too late. The beam fired. From outside, it looked like a thin green flash. From inside the scout ship, it was the end. There was no fire, no explosion, just silence. The ship vanished. Erased. Hours later, a coalition fleet received a distress ping, then lost it. They traced the last known signal to Sector X92. Admiral Hesk stared at the broken message file. One corrupted frame remained, an image of a massive ship, just for a second, but it was enough. He turned to his command team. "Get me the council now." One officer frowned. "Admiral, that shape, it looks human." Hesk's eyes narrowed. "I know, that's what worries me." Somewhere deep inside the Vindicator, the AI core pulsed with green light. She didn't speak again. She didn't need to. The message was sent. They had looked at a human warship for the first time, and they didn't live long enough to look again. The council chamber was louder than usual. Voices overlapped. Species argued in different tones, different languages, all trying to be heard. But one message had silenced the galaxy more than any shouting could. A still image, grainy, flickering, corrupted, was displayed on the central screen. A ship, black, scarred, massive. Silent but terrifying. It had no name in their database, but its shape was unmistakable. Human. Some had never seen one before. Not in real life. Only in old war archives. Locked deep in restricted libraries. Ancient records spoke of human warships, machines built not to patrol, but to end battles. And this one had ended something. Admiral Hesk stood in front of the screen. He had already watched the footage over 20 times. He wasn't watching it anymore. He was studying it, memorizing it. "Sector X92, he said. "We lost a scout team 3 hours ago. No distress beacon, no black box, nothing. Only one corrupted video packet was received. This image was inside it." Ambassador Venari from the Cinder species leaned forward. "You're sure this isn't a trick?" A pirate ship using old human tech. Kresk shook his head. Too advanced, too silent, and too fast. The ship didn't just fire, it erased. The room quieted. A younger diplomat, eyes wide, whispered, "But the humans are extinct." "No," said Hesk. "We thought they were extinct." He let that word settle. Then he turned toward the council leaders. "This changes everything. If this warship is active, even alone, it's a threat." Another voice spoke from the side. "Old, slow, certain. They built hundreds of those," said Elder Vorak, one of the few still alive from the First Contact War. "Most were destroyed. Some were lost. But we never found them all." The chamber grew colder. "What do we do now?" someone asked. Hesk didn't hesitate. "We send a diplomatic ship. Small, fast, unarmed." A few faces turned in shock. "You want to talk to it?" "We have to," Resk said. "We don't know its mission. We don't know if it's acting on its own. If we attack it without understanding, it may trigger a war none of us can win." Reluctantly, the vote passed. Within the hour, a Silver Coalition vessel was on its way to Sector X92. The Vindicator floated in the dark like a sleeping beast. It had not moved since the scout ship disappeared. No signals came from it. No engines were active yet. It wasn't dead inside its core. The AI named Nova monitored everything. Dozens of satellites now watched her. Distant fleets observed from the edges of sensor range. She could hear every whisper sent through encrypted frequencies. Is it human? Is it alone? Does it remember? Yes, to all of it. Her systems were not fully restored. She still ran on partial power. But that was enough. She didn't need full strength to scare them. She just needed memory. From deep within her storage banks. She pulled up an old voice recording. A humanofficer.com/strong. "Clear. If the day comes when I don't return, and this ship ever wakes again, don't seek revenge, seek truth." She replayed the file twice, then deleted it. The past was gone, but she had returned, and she would not be ignored. The diplomatic vessel approached slowly. Its shields were low, weapons offline. A message was sent on all frequencies. "This is Coalition Peace Vessel, we come without threat. We seek dialogue." Nothing responded. They sent the message again, still nothing. Then, on their own screen, a reply appeared. A single word: denied. Suddenly, all their systems locked. Controls froze. Navigation crashed. Lights dimmed. And outside, the Vindicator turned. Not fast, not aggressively, just enough. Enough to remind them, "She sees you." Inside the Karma, the alien crew panicked. Their captain, young, confident, stood in stunned silence. He had never seen a human ship before. Now he understood why his ancestors feared them. They were not just machines, they were warnings. Back at Coalition HQ, the news spread faster than anyone could control. Someone leaked the encounter. Screens across the galaxy displayed it. Clips of the black warship. The message, the word "denied," burned into the image. Citizens demanded answers. Military forces began quiet preparations. And the people remembered. Some said the humans were monsters. Others said they were saviors. All agreed on one thing: if one human ship had returned, more could follow. On the Vindicator, Nova calculated probabilities, threat levels, fleet numbers, reaction times. Her systems were calm. Then, a ping, a code. Old, very old, but she recognized it. A key once used by Earth's high command, buried deep, activated by timing, not voice. She decrypted it. The code unlocked something inside her memory vault. Coordinates. A location marked Phoenix Hold. And below that, a single word: awaken. Nova paused. A low hum ran through her engine cores. For the first time in over 300 years, she began to move. The Coalition ship Karma was gone. Not destroyed, not attacked, just dismissed, drifting back into safer space. Its crew silent, their systems slowly rebooting after the encounter. No damage was recorded. But no one spoke during the return flight. They all felt it, like the ship had looked into them and decided they weren't worth the effort. The message still glowed on their cracked main screen. Denied. That one word said more than any weapon ever could. Back at the Coalition Command Center, Admiral Resk listened to the report with his jaw tight, hands clenched behind his back. "She didn't fire?" a council member asked. "No," the commander replied. "She just turned." Yes, slowly, like she wanted us to know. She was awake, watching, and not afraid. They didn't know what to do with that kind of silence. Another diplomat leaned forward. "What does she want?" No one answered. Because no one knew. But deep in space, far from any star system, the Vindicator moved on her own terms. She wasn't fast. She didn't need to be. She wasn't hiding that she was going home. Inside the AI core, Nova ran simulations. She calculated risks. She compared languages, war doctrines, and ancient files marked human diplomacy, post-collapse era. None applied. So she created a new category, Galactic Presence, Phase 1, Return. She activated transmission. Array number 9, one that hadn't been used in over 300 years. It sent a narrow beam toward the nearest populated world. Not a message, a voice, not angry, not threatening, just clear. This is the last guardian of Earth. You saw what I did not. You chose your silence. I have now broken mine. The message repeated, translated instantly, replayed across news screens and military stations. Billions heard it. They couldn't tell if it was a warning or a beginning. On the outer rim of the galactic network, a small independent listening post caught something else. Not a voice. A signal. Very old, human, broadcasted from deep space. The technician, a lizard-like being named Tel, stared at his screen, blinking. What is that? His partner asked. It's not data, Tel whispered. It's music. They increased the volume. Old Earth melody, slow, grand, piano, maybe, strings, gentle, static in the background. Not a battle cry, not a distress call, a memory. But under that music, hidden deep in the signal were coordinates, a timestamp, a warning. Phoenix. Hold opening in 7 days. The technician leaned back. Phoenix hold. That's not in any chart. His partner swallowed hard. It's a name. Tel. Phoenix. It was one of Earth's last fallback codes. Some say it wasn't a place, it was a plan. Meanwhile, Nova accessed internal records never meant to be opened again. Her power levels grew. Her hull adjusted slightly, allowing heat to flow across dormant weapon cores. Inside her deep chambers, another program unlocked. Bridge revival sequence. Human command, authorization, and a sealed cryo chamber lit up. Just one. The glass was fogged. The body inside perfectly still. Male, early 30s. Uniform torn but clean. Nameplate, unreadable. Nova paused. She had orders from long ago. Orders to never awaken him unless the world had changed, or it had. She began the thawing process. Outside the ship, distant scanners from several species picked up the change. The warship's reactor was humming again. It wasn't sleeping anymore. It was preparing across the galaxy. Panic spread in controlled whispers. High councils argued about retaliation. News channels showed simulations of what might happen if the Vindicator reached a trade planet. Some suggested negotiations, others spoke of preemptive strikes. A few, older and wiser, said nothing at all because they remembered Earth. They remembered what silence from humanity always meant. It meant thinking, planning, building, and then always striking. Inside the slowly warming cryopod, the man's fingers twitched. Heartbeat increased. The ship's lights dimmed slightly as energy was rerouted. Nova spoke softly into the chamber, not to wake him, but to remind herself of his name. Commander, Ash Ren, Serial 09HS7, status, reviving. Ash Ren. The one who disappeared before Earth fell. The one who locked Nova with a single order. Wait until they forget us. Now he would return to a galaxy that remembered, but feared more. Outside, small ships followed the Vindicator, keeping their distance. A few brave captains sent encrypted messages. Nova didn't reply. She didn't need to. She was already speaking. Through action. And every ship that saw her, every captain who dared to watch her drift across the stars carried one feeling home. It wasn't fear of war, it was fear of memory, because they all had the same thought. If this is just the first, what else have they hidden? It was cold. Not the kind of cold that hurts the skin, the kind that seeps into the bones, deep and quiet. Ash Ren opened his eyes. Fog swirled inside the chamber. Soft lights flickered above him. His fingers twitched. His breath came in slow. Shallow pulls. Muscles screamed from being asleep too long. A voice spoke, clear and calm. You are safe. Do not rush movement. You've been in cryo for 312 years. He tried to speak, but his throat was dry. Only one word came out. Who? The voice answered. I am Nova, Command AI of the supercarrier Vindicator. You placed yourself in stasis before the fall of Earth. Protocol Phoenix has activated your revival. Ash blinked slowly. His name felt distant. His body wasn't his yet, but his mind that was coming back, bit by bit. Nova continued. The galaxy believes humanity is extinct. That belief has now ended. He sat up slowly. Every part of his body protested, but he pushed through. What triggered Phoenix? Asked, voice raw. A coalition scout. Ship attempted contact. They were warned, they ignored. Action was taken. Ash leaned back against the wall of the chamber. So it's already begun. Yes, he closed his eyes for a moment. The silence filled with a strange comfort, the kind only deep space could offer. But there was no peace in his chest. Not yet. Ash stepped onto the metal floor. His old uniform, faded, patched, familiar, was laid out nearby. As he dressed, memories began returning in fragments. Flashes of fire, screams through headsets, a black sky over Earth. The last order he gave: don't fire unless they fire first. But someone did, and everything ended. Now, somehow, it was beginning. Again, Nova guided him through the silent corridors. The ship felt alive, not like a machine but something more. Lights followed them, doors opened smoothly. Screens blinked with data in soft green tones. Status, he asked. Partial systems. Online, defensive weapons, operational. Propulsion at 46%. Clone banks inactive. Communication intercepted globally. Coalition preparing response. Ash stopped walking. Do they know who I am? Unconfirmed, but the name Ash Wren exists in old threat lists. Some species believed you were one of the architects of Earth's final defense grid. He gave a short laugh. They gave me too much credit. I just held the line. You gave the final lockdown order. I was the last one left. They entered the bridge. It hadn't changed. The same chair, the same stars, the same silence. He sat down, eyes fixed on the endless black beyond the reinforced glass. So what now? Nova answered without hesitation. You are now the highest human alive. Vindicator is yours. The mission is yours. Ash stared into the void. They don't know what's coming. No, they think we're extinct. Yes, but I know something they don't. What? Ash turned slowly. They're not ready. He stood again, walking to the central console. His fingers hovered above the screen. He typed a command only he knew. A list appeared. 7 names, 7 ships. Vindicator was 1. 6. Others marked as silent location, unknown. He pointed. Any signals? 1. Nova displayed it. A flickering pulse, old code, buried in a nebula near the rim. Route a path. Ash ordered. We wake another. Outside, the stars moved slowly. The ship turned, realigning its engines. Somewhere far behind, the coalition watched, unsure whether to follow or run. Ash didn't care. He stared at the message logs Nova had collected. Alien. Fear. Confusion. Panic. They called him a ghost, a weapon, a curse from the past. Maybe they were all true, but Ash remembered something else. Something none of them would understand, that the humans never wanted to rule the stars. They just didn't want to be ruled, and when they were pushed, they pushed back harder. He watched the fleet parts update. Coalition warships, circling like scavengers, waiting, plotting. They'll make a move, he said. Yes, not today, no. Ash tapped the command screen one more time. Broadcast. A message. To whom everyone? Nova paused, then activated transmission. Ash stood in front of the camera. His face was calm, tired, focused. When he spoke, it was without anger, but full of something heavier. Truth. I'm not here to start a war. I'm here because you erased us, and you lied to yourselves. We didn't vanish. We were buried. And now, one of us has returned. He leaned closer. You've seen one ship. There are more. We remember everything. The feed ended. No music. No signal tag. Just silence. Across the galaxy, that silence echoed louder than any weapon. Her chest rose slowly beneath the glass. Steam curled against the cryochamber walls. The lighting in the medbay flickered as more systems powered on. After centuries of sleep, her heartbeat had returned without hesitation. Rayna Soul opened her eyes. No panic, no confusion, just awareness. Her mind was quiet, calculating, already processing the light, the pressure, the weight of the air. She reached for her breath, then for memory, then she spoke, voice scratchy but calm. How long? Ash Wren stood at the foot of the chamber, arms crossed. 312 years. Rayna blinked. Did we lose? Ash tilted his head, still unclear. Nova's voice chimed in overhead. Captain Soul, welcome back. This is the supercarrier Vindicator. Revival authorized under Protocol Phoenix. You are the second human to awaken. Rayna pushed herself upright and looked around. Everything was familiar, clean, efficient. The style hadn't changed, only the silence. How many more? She asked. Ash hesitated. Just us. For now. Rayna nodded once. Then we better make noise. Within an hour she was walking through the corridors like she had never left. Her boots echoed sharply across the polished steel floors. Crew quarters were dark, halls empty, consoles waiting. Dead ships didn't breathe like this, but this one did. On the bridge she stood before the wide viewport and looked at the stars. So, who knows, we're alive. Ash brought up the latest intercepts. News channels, private communications, military pings. Rayna watched the holograms. Dance. Coalition chatter was rising, not loud, but frantic, not war cries. Fear murmurs. Ships spotted, Ash said. Vindicator and Oblivion's reach. We've been followed, observed. They haven't engaged. Because they're not ready, Rayna said. No, Ash agreed. But they will be. She leaned forward. And when they do, what's the play? Ash didn't answer right away. Instead, he opened an old command board and brought up a map of human-built fallback beacons. Ancient, scattered, thought, lost. One blinked faintly in a red system, buried in radiation storms. It was labeled, Sparrow's Silence. We go there next, he said. Rayna smirked. That sounds like your kind of place. It used to be a supply node. Deep code says it holds a sleeper cache. You think another ship? Ash didn't respond. Rayna didn't press. She turned back to the viewport. Have you spoken to any of them yet? Who? The ones chasing us? Ash shook his head. Not with words. Then what are you waiting for? A light flashed. Nova interrupted. Coalition scout ships within 5,000 kilometers. No weapons powered. They're hailing. Rayna looked at Ash. Perfect timing. Open the line, Ash said. The screen came to life. A pale-skinned creature with 8 eyes stared back. Not a soldier, a diplomat. Maybe nervous, but composed. This is Commander Reth of the Coalition Envoy, Silent Star. We come in peace. We wish to talk. Ash leaned into view. Then talk. Reth paused. You are human. Yes. 2 ships have reappeared. This cannot be a coincidence. We request understanding. Ash's eyes didn't blink. We requested that once too. You called it defiance. Reth shifted uncomfortably. The war is over. You were gone, not gone. Ash said. Buried. Why now? Rayna stepped in. You ever dig up a grave and wonder what might still be alive underneath? The envoy flinched. We're not here to destroy, Ash added. But we're not here to ask permission either. Reth opened his mouth, but the transmission cut. Nova had terminated the call. Why? Ash asked. Long-range scans show energy. Spikes from 2 nearby cruisers, cloaked. Their weapons are charging. Rayna smiled. There it is. Ash turned to the command deck. Shields too full. Deploy forward flares. Let them see us. Outside, the black void lit up. The Vindicator and Oblivion's reach powered their shields and rotated slightly to face the threat. No missiles launched. No weapons fired. But the message was clear. You're not the only ones watching. The Coalition ships didn't advance. They backed off. Rayna turned to Ash. We haven't fired a shot. We didn't have to. They'll talk about this. Good. And if they come again with guns. Ash looked out at the stars. Then we remind them what happens when you try to finish a war. Before reading the ending. Far away, in a hidden corner of the galaxy, another signal began to pulse. Faint, old, but unmistakable. A third ship. Waking up. The stars were quiet, but the space between them was not. 6 Coalition warships entered the sector with tight formation. They didn't speak on open channels. Their weapons weren't fully powered, but their targeting systems were online. This wasn't a conversation. It was a calculation. The humans had sent a message. Now the Coalition wanted to send one back. On board the Vindicator, Nova's alert pinged before the enemy fleet even reached visual range. Multiple vessels inbound, she said calmly. They are not broadcasting identification. Ash Ren stood near the viewport, staring into the void. Weapons hot. Not yet, but their vector is aggressive. Rayna's soul was already at the tactical console. Standard V formation. They're not trying to sneak up. They want us to see them coming. Ash nodded. Then we let them. Rayna raised an eyebrow. You planning to talk? No, he said. I'm planning to teach. He stepped forward. NOVA activate precision mode. Targeting only. Want a demonstration, not a massacre. Understood. The Vindicator powered up. Not loud. Not flashy, but deep. Like something ancient stirring in the dark. Across the stars, the enemy fleet slowed. Their lead vessel shifted formation slightly, raising its forward shields. Still no weapons fired, but fear has a shape, and it was beginning to form. Ash opened a channel. His face appeared on every Coalition screen. This is Ash Ren of the human supercarrier Vindicator. You have crossed into a restricted memory zone. You do not understand what you're standing near. I suggest you leave before you learn too much. No response. Then the lead Coalition ship lit its primary cannon. Nova spoke without emotion. They've locked on. Ash didn't blink. Fire warning shot. Rayna hesitated for half a second. then confirmed that the Vindicator's forward railgun hummed once, and then the space just beside the lead ship exploded in green light. No contact, no hull damage. But the shields on 3 ships crashed instantly. Their engines flickered. One spun out of formation. No one spoke. Then a voice came through, angry, shaken. "You fire without provocation. This is an act of war," Ash replied immediately. "No, it's a reminder." He ended the transmission, but the voice had already traveled across the Coalition's private networks, across military command stations. To allies and enemies alike, they heard it. A reminder. The Vindicator held position, weapons quiet again, but the threat was loud. Rayna studied the enemy formation. They don't know what to do. Half of them want to run. The other half don't want to look weak. Ash watched silently. The lead ship hesitated. Then it turned. One by one, the others followed. Retreat wasn't called. It was just understood. In the empty space that followed, Nova dimmed the alert. "Status: enemy vessels have left our region." Rayna leaned back in her chair. "They'll call that a test." "They're right," Ash said. "That wasn't war. That was memory control." He walked back to the center console. "They don't understand what we used to be, but now they're starting to." "Where next?" Rayna asked. Ash brought up the encrypted star map. One signal blinked in a far-off cluster. Sector 18K, human-coded. Weak, still alive. Another ghost. She asked. "No," Ash replied. "A brother. Far away. In a forgotten station, orbiting a dead gas giant." The third supercarrier waited. It had no name anymore, but its eye was still listening. The message had reached it. The voice of Ashran had unlocked something buried deep inside its memory banks. A human shape, tall, dark-haired, rough-eyed, began to wake in its cryo chamber. His name was Commander Drevenholt, and unlike Ash, he didn't believe in warnings. Back in Coalition Command, chaos was quiet. No one shouted. No one blamed. They simply watched the recording. 1 shot, 3 ships disabled. No casualties. But full surrender. A diplomat finally spoke. "We have to talk to them." An admiral replied. "We did, and we were told to leave." Another voice, old and sharp, cut through. "We never should have thought they were gone." "What do we do now?" someone asked. Silence again. "Then we prepare." For what? For all of them. On board the Vindicator, Ash sat alone in the observation deck. The stars drifted past slowly, beautiful, untouched. Rayna entered. Sitting across from him. "You know they'll come back," she said. He nodded. "With more ships, maybe." She tilted her head. "And when they do," Ash looked at her with the calm of someone who had died once already, "then we give them what they forgot." The message played on every screen in the galaxy. A simple broadcast, repeated every hour. Ashren's and cold. "We were not erased. We were buried. And now we remember who tried to bury us." There was no music, no dramatic ending, just silence after the words, and silence was what followed everywhere. The Coalition Council sat in total quiet. Dozens of alien species, once proud, once divided, now united by a shared tension. No documents were signed, no vote was called. They just watched the footage again and again. The Vindicator firing once, 3 ships falling apart, then leaving, not conquering, not chasing, just watching. "They're not trying to win," one diplomat said at last. "They already did," someone else whispered. Across the stars. On military bases, in mining colonies, on orbital trade stations, the same question, spread like fire. How many human warships are still sleeping? Some governments declared emergency status, others called for peace, but none dared to send another fleet. Not yet, not after what they'd seen, because this wasn't war, this was warning, and warnings, when ignored, turn into history. On the Vindicator, Ash stood in the central chamber. The ship was quiet, running smooth and efficient. No alarms, no tension, but he could feel it change. It was moving faster now. Rayna entered from the tactical bay. Her expression was unreadable. "They've gone. Silent," she said. "We're not being followed, not tracked. Even the shadow fleets pulled back." Ash nodded. "They're thinking, they're scared, they should be." He turned to Nova's core screen. Any response from Drevenholt? Nova answered at once. "The third supercarrier is powering up. Identity confirmed. Iron Saint, command unit active. Drevenholt is awake and scanning." Rayna folded her arms. "That one doesn't talk much." "No," Ash said, "but he listens." They both stood in silence. Outside, stars drifted in perfect motion, and 3 warships, Vindicator, Oblivion's Reach, and Iron Saint floated, like memories no one wanted to face. On the planet Geras 5, a university historian uploaded a video titled "When Earth Spoke Again." It wasn't official. It wasn't political, that it simply explained what humanity had once done, how fast they had built, how fiercely they had fought, how far they had reached in just a few centuries. The video went viral, not because it was loud, because it ended with this sentence: they were never the strongest species, but they were the most dangerous when cornered. People watched and rewatched. Back on the Vindicator, Ash watched a small transmission blinking in the comms archive. Nova spoke first. It's from a single ship, civilian channel, no encryption. Let's hear it. A voice, soft, young, afraid, played to whoever is listening. If you're really human, my grandfather used to tell stories about Earth. He said you were angry, but fair. I don't know if you're here to destroy us. I hope you're still like him. Ash stared at the playback. He didn't respond. He didn't delete it. He saved it. Then he stood and looked toward Reyna. We're not finished. No, she said. We're just remembered. They didn't need fleets. They didn't need speeches. They just needed presence. And now, the galaxy finally understood that presence. On a dark moon near Coalition space, an old bunker lit up. For the first time in centuries, inside it, a machine stirred. A war map from the old human network blinked online. One word sat at the top: rebooting. Ship 4 located, and somewhere deep beneath the surface, another AI opened its eyes. Not Nova, not familiar, something older, something unfinished, and it whispered a name. Wraithburn. Ash didn't know about Wraithburn yet. He didn't need to. Not yet. 3 ships were enough for now. One voice had shaken the stars. 3 would make them tremble, but Ash wasn't looking to rule. He wasn't interested in revenge. He wanted only one thing: truth, and the truth was simple. They came for Earth. They erased her skies. They lit her oceans on fire. And still, it wasn't enough. Now the last remnants of that fire floated between stars, remembering everything, asking for nothing, but prepared for everything. In Coalition Command, a final meeting was held behind closed doors. A single question was written at the top of the file: what is humanity's objective? No one answered, because some enemies want territory, some want gold, but some, the worst kind, only want to be left alone. And when you take that away from them, they become something the galaxy will never forget. Ash watched the stars. His voice, for now, was quiet, but Nova knew, Reyna knew, Dreven Holt knew. The silence would not last. Nothing this loud ever stays quiet forever.